Good morning, M247 family.
What's up?
This is your morning marriage.
Splash!
Come on, let's go get wet.
Let's do it. Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's Monday morning, top of the week. Have a good Monday. Yeah, hope your day so far has been cool.
Yes.
So, first Monday in May.
It is.
Yeah. So, I was doing some reading this morning, and some kind of caught my eye when I was reading the Proverbs. This particular, it was in, Proverbs, and I was kind of looking over some notes, and I thought we'd talk about management.
Management of what?
Management of the marriage for the marathon.
Break it down. I'm not too sure where you're going with it.
Well, I want to deal with the acute stress and the chronic stress. So acute, ACUTE, chronic, CHRONIC, chronic. So acute is like short term. Short term. This is the short term. Chronic is long term. So think of in terms of like carnal. What's that with the wrist? Carpal tunnel.
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, carpal tunnel syndrome. It starts off being acute. It's not cute, but it is acute. It's short term. You kind of feel it. You're like you're feeling that thing from what you do, and sometimes when you address things that are chronic. Stress that is acute stress. You can kind of nip it in the bud. But if you go ahead and let it prolong, keep going, that stress, that acute stress, then turns into chronic stress. That long-term stress, and either one of them can kill you, because if you don't deal with the short-term stress, then ultimately that long-term stress is what it's going to turn into. So I was thinking, like, in marriage, those things that are acute, those things that come up and you deal with it right away. You address it, you talk about it, and adjustments are made. Sometimes a lot of that stuff is just misunderstandings, or just trying to figure out the other person, because you've in some cases have just gotten together, and things are a little different, or a lot different from being dating, and then you come into the aspect of being together, living together under one roof. Then you got that aspect of that chronic, that long term. We've been married a while, and because things are a certain way, you don't address the short term things that set you off, then it turns into that chronic situation, and then it's always that's something that won't be dealt with, and then it really puts a handicap on the relationship. You have arguments, misunderstandings in that short term, and but
Chronic could kill you.
the chronic could kill you. Well, the short term can kill you too, because what if you're dealing with something, you've been dealing something with long term, and it comes back around to that that thing that is like, that raises up another situation, raises up, may not be that same situation, but it's that thing that ignites everything that you have not been dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like where I was, this morning, and the things that happen when you don't deal with things. It turns into, that thing, and arguably, that's the number one killer in a marriage, coupled with financial issues. So those two, you can tomato, it could be either one that you're dealing with. The financial situation turns into the stress, and the stress of just being married and not dealing with things properly. You know what I'm saying? Withholding everything that you have within, and then not having the proper outlet. So what you think?
Well, I think it kind of stems on our last splash when I was talking to the wives about how stress can kill you. And I had some comments. Some people commented on Facebook, thank you. And I committed to myself that I was going to start releasing my stress because I'm in too much physical pain. It's just my back or my knees or my head, the spinal pain, and it's because we as wives, we internalize and hold on to so much more than we should. So I can see how it can be acute, and then over time, over the years, how it becomes just chronic pain. Okay, first it was just a mild or a slight headache, and then over time, now they're migraines and they're spinal pain. It's just, I can see how it becomes chronic, and it just creeps up on you too. It creeps up on you, and you don't know that it's stress until you just look it in the eye and say, okay, do I really have those, and for me, for instance, do I really have a herniated disc and arthritis in my spine, as the doctors say? Mm-hmm. Or do I have what Dr. Lamar says, the naturalist? Do I have stress and it's just running rapid in my body, in my spine? So
eliminate the stress.
All right.
Say when you eliminate the stress, you eliminate those things that
I've over the last
Lamar says.
Right. And when I came to, after we did that splash, and I told myself, and you have to keep telling yourself, release it, release it, release it. And that's what I'm working on. And I can truly say, I still have pain, but it's not as intense as it was, back when we did that splash last week. So it does work. So I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. So we want to encourage y'all to deal with it. And I use the carpal tunnel situation because I know a lot of you that are listening have gone through that. I know people in my family that have gone through that, because you were in one position
too long.
You know what I'm saying? You're in one position too long, and when you're in that one position too long, it's a reaction, to what you are adhering to your situation or to your body. And so the proper response from the body is what you get, when you in that position too long. And it could have been, It could have been handled differently had you approached it differently. And really, the end result is that operation that you have, that correction. But you really didn't have to go through that.
Well, how do you correct it? How do you correct it in your situations?
I don't have carpal tunnel.
Okay.
How do I deal with what?
How do you correct the stress, the chronic stress or acute stress in your situations?
I think one of the things that is, or may be the thing that's omitted when people go through things, is standing on the Word of God, and putting that into practice. Casting your cares on Him, because He cares for you. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, in prayer and supplication, let your requests be known unto God. So I think what we do as being, these people here on this planet, we deal with the Word of God as we read it, but then when it comes to actually putting it into practice, that's not our first go-to. It's not our first go-to. I mean, we don't really, do we really believe that if we cast our cares on Him, He'll put us in a state of peace? Maybe the situation won't change right away, but the peace of mind going through the situation is what we are missing, So that would be, that's the go-to. We read the Word and we believe the Word when that situation is not applicable to us. But then that situation that we're going through, we don't apply what we have read in the past or what we, encourage other people to do. What you think?
I agree.
Yeah.
Cast your cares on Him because He cares for you.
Yeah. That's the main thing. And from there, He'll give you instructions on what to do. That once you cast your cares on Him, He'll give you the wisdom and how to communicate with whomever you're dealing with, whatever you're dealing with.
Right.
So anyway, just some thoughts that I had in meditation this morning. And so, as always, keep the faith and don't stop. It's a marathon. Manage your marriage marathon.
Have a wonderful day.
Holla.
Like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications.